So I'm going to go over the logo design project worksheet with this video. We're going to be using Adobe Illustrator for this. Typically in the graphic design industry, Adobe Illustrator is the logo design software that is used universally in the graphic design industry. So that's something to remember. Don't be designing logos in Photoshop or InDesign or other programs. Honestly, Adobe Illustrator is kind of the industry standard for logo design. So the logo design files will be due in Brightspace by Wednesday, October 19th before 11:30 p.m. So this is for face-to-face students only, but you will bring printed versions of your color logo to Thursday, October 20th class, and we will critique on that day. Obviously, online students do not need to print, but they do need to complete the logo design critique discussion by Thursday, October 20th before 11:30 p.m. So the objective for this assignment, this logo design project, is that you're going to be creating a personal logo for you, which you can use personally or professionally. It's important that the logo is memorable and that it represents you. If you wish to present to the world that you are modern and sleek, then make your logo look modern and sleek. If you're more playful, find ways of bringing your personality into that logo. So if you're playful, think of a playful font, think of playful colors. Shapes, colors, texts are really what are going to come together to create the logo. So just think about how you can create a visual theme using, shapes, colors, and text. Some fonts are fun and playful, and so are some colors, and even certain shapes are playful as well. Some are more serious, so like really straight-edged shapes like a triangle is more serious, but maybe something a little bit more like free-flowing and curvilinear would be more playful. So definitely consider those things when designing your logo to match your personality. Make sure you've read the logo design lecture or reading, to be more exact, in Brightspace. It's a link, and then make sure you take that logo design quiz before you start your logo design project. That's really going to help you kind of understand some of the principles of, or the fundamentals of logo design. It's good to know those before you even start your thumbnails. So just definitely take the basics of logo design into consideration when designing your logo. So, overview, a logo is basically a graphical element or a trademark for a brand, and it's usually set in a special typeface and arranged in a particular but very legible way, hopefully. Logos should be, the text of a logo should be very legible. You don't want to look at a logo and be like, what does that say? It needs to be very recognizable. Logos are typically made up of two elements, the symbol and the text. So the symbol is usually a simplified illustration or drawing or icon of some sort, usually really simple. The symbol should generate associations with the purpose of the logo and should be aesthetically pleasing. And the association may be with a skill, in your case with a personal logo, it could be one of your skills, one of your services, character attributes that you have, a place or a thing that you want to be identified with. So maybe I love Montana, and that's such a big part of who I am, so maybe I'll put in the state outline somewhere in my logo. That's just a small example, but so definitely use symbols, try to use associations with character traits. Make sure, it's aesthetically pleasing, but and the text of the logo, in this case will probably be your first and last name, unless you have a company name that you want to use. It could be a fake company, obviously. Just make sure you can read the text too, and all text before you turn in your files should be converted to outlines. And I will show you how to do that in a demo video, so don't worry about that. And also I'm just going to tell you right here, you can right click on a text box in Illustrator and there's a little flyout menu will show up, and you can select create outlines from the drop down list to convert your text to outlines. So that's kind of how you do it. Me visually telling you that, and I wrote it down in here, but I will also make a video that kind of covers that process. Okay, so the process of the logo design project, that will be your personal logo. First you'll do some research, just gather a few ideas about what personality traits you really want to kind of highlight with your logo. And then, you know, after you kind of figure out what you want to kind of put across to people with your logo, and maybe thinking of some symbols that symbolize some of those traits that you have, you can complete 5 thumbnail drawing sketches, and you need to get those turned in by the due date listed in Brightspace. So after you do your 5 thumbnails, we'll actually choose your favorite idea, your favorite thumbnail idea, and you will begin constructing your logo in Illustrator based on that favorite thumbnail idea. I'll be available to help you. You know, send me an email. We can meet in person. We can WebEx. We can, you know, meet in class. We definitely want to create a black version first. We're not going to work with color right away. We're going to work with black first. Once we get the black version looking the way we want it to, save the black and white version by doing a file save as. Save the black and white version first, and then do a file save as to begin your colored version. With the colored logo, we're not using any more than 4 colors, okay? Because if we do any more than 4 colors, it can be expensive to print, and also it just tends to get busy. Some people do use more than 4 colors in their logo design, but it's kind of a no-no. Around 4 colors, 3 is even better, especially if you're going to be doing any silk screen printing. You know, the more colors you have in your logo, the more passes with the silk screen people have to make, and it just gets more expensive. So that's kind of why, you know, for printing cost purposes, we want to keep the colors in the logo to a minimum of 4 colors. Obviously, once your logos are looking good and you have them looking the way you want to, you know, you can outline your logo text by control clicking on the text box and then selecting create outlines. And then once you have a black and white version and a color version of your logo, we want to save an AI file out of the black version and the color, and then export out JPEGs of both the black and the color version. So 4 files total will be due in Brightspace by the due date at the top of this document. Naming conventions, we're going to try and use those same ones we've been using. You know, have your name in the file name. We want to indicate if the file is black and white or color by putting either BW for the black and white or CMYK for the color on the end of the file name. So this is, you know, examples of, here's my black and white logo. I have a JPEG and an AI file. Here's my color logo. I have a JPEG and an AI file. And in the file name, I have CMYK for the color version and black and white for the black and white version. And I have my name in there and logo. So everything is named really precisely, so I know exactly what I'm looking at just from the name of the file. Step 7 is only for face-to-face students, but it is an important step for face-to-face students. They need to print their color version of their logo. No need to print the black and white. I want you to put it on regular computer paper, letter size, 8.5 by 11 paper. You can print it at the MSU Northern Library. You know, you can email a high-resolution JPEG file of your logo to printing at msun.edu. You know, to get a JPEG file, you need to do a file export out of Illustrator. So you go to File at the top menu and Export. And you just need to make sure that JPEG is set to 300 ppi and is in CMYK color mode. Make sure you print your logo nicely. Like if the printer is running out of ink, then that means that you need to find a different printer that isn't running out of ink, or that you need to replace the ink and then reprint. I want you to come to class with nice looking prints, please. That being said, that's only for face-to-face students. Online students, they do not need to print, but they do need to complete the logo design project discussion in Brightspace by the indicated due date. That will be in Brightspace for you to reference. Obviously, online students don't need to print their logo designs. So some other requirements for your document, your Illustrator document that you need to consider for this project. Your artboard size or your canvas size. In Illustrator it's called an artboard, but it needs to be 3 by 3 inches. So when we go to set that up, we're going to make that 3 by 3. Design your logo in black first. Black is the most important color in logo design. So, you know, once you get it looking good black, you save out a black and white version. Then you then you do a file save as, and you add CMYK to the file name, and then you add color. Obviously no more than 4 colors. One thing about a logo is you should definitely experiment with shrinking it down in size. You can just do a command minus to zoom out, or a control minus if you're on a Windows machine, to see if your logo is still recognizable and clear when it's shrunk down to a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch size. That means it gets really small, but you can still read it. And also it should be still legible and recognizable when color is absent or when color is present. It needs to look good in both black and white and color shrunk down. Obviously label your logo files with your first last name, the word logo, and then no spaces, and indicate if it's black and white in the file name as well with the BW or CMYK on the end of the file name. So here's some examples of past student work. This is Barry Brownlee's. He did I kind of cut it off here. That line is supposed to join, but this is his black and white version. Since he has a lot of B's in his name, he kind of went with that, and so he kind of made a B out of a B. So that was kind of his little symbol and the association with his own name that he decided to put into his logo. So it looks good in black and white and in color. So that is, looking good there. This is Ethan Davison's. This is his black and white version, and then this is his color version. And his was Dr. Doodles, and he just really likes to doodle, so that's kind of why he went that route. Jordan Rader's, hers is down here. She's more of an illustrator, so she used logos, or she used Illustrator to really create an illustration. She used the blob brush tool, which we will go over in a demo video here soon. And she created, this hand-drawn illustration. So she doesn't really have very much text. I can't remember what this stands for. It's CB. It stands for something. But I think it's kind of supposed to be like the eyes of the character. It might have been successful if she maybe added in more text, like above in maybe like in an arch shape or something. But I think the illustration is very, very successful. And I really like the color version. I think it's pretty clever. And I love the tongue wrapping around the pencil. Martin, he went with more of like a classic clean design, but he has kind of an MW in his name, so he kind of played with that shape of the M and the W interlocking. And if you take the M and you flip it upside down, then it's a W. So it's kind of fun to play with that, and that's kind of what this logo is. It's kind of a play on his first and last name, Martin Wilkie. And then he kind of, he put the M and the W in there for the symbol, but he did put the text around his logo as well, kind of in a circle. And that worked out really well. So the black and white color version. And then there's just some helpful questions to ask yourself before you start your logo project. Read through this, kind of answer them in your own head. Take those answers into consideration, and they might help you kind of focus your energy in the right direction when starting your thumbnails. But yeah, like if you guys have any questions, please just get a hold of me. You can text me on my phone. My number's in the syllabus. You can email me in Brightspace. You can email my EDU. And we can meet in person. We can meet over WebEx, whatever you need. So anyway, that's basically the gist of the logo design project and the logo design project worksheet. And we'll talk to you later.